We're not politically correct, we just have common sense.
Unscripted, unfiltered, unfaltering. Show of Support's Hunt for Heroes offers tributes and true stories of remarkable courage.
If these terrorists could come in your bedroom, they'd kill you, your wife, and your kids. And that's what these men are fighting to protect us from, these murdering idiots. And they're taking them out so that we don't have to deal with them over here.
Show of Support started it all, just after the shock and awe bound the nation together. Now, years of footage portraying wounded veterans, deer stands, and standing ovations. Hunt for Heroes, that started as one man's way to say thanks, is now a series that many say is way overdue.
This is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
It's just a raw emotion.
It's been like a dream. It really has.
We still have 40,000 injured troops. It's going to take a while to get around all of them, but there's no quitting. It'll never stop as long as I'm breathing.
If only for a second, if one could feel and sense the stillness of South Texas, the jagged edge of an empty horizon, then one can imagine how this incredible part of America can come to mean so much to one incredible group of American heroes.
I brought down my hunting gear. Obviously, I didn't follow the instructions that were given to pack light. Now I have 3 bags to tote back home with me, but that's fine. I brought all my hunting apparel because I figured I'd have to have my own hunting outfit to hunt with, and I'd borrow a rifle.
But that wouldn't be the case here. No need to bring any gear to this Show of Support Hunt for Heroes down on the HerraDura Ranch. Jerry Johnston's mission of taking wounded American veterans hunting extends from one end of the Lone Star State to the other. Through Show of Support, everything from camo to ammo is provided, presented not as a loan, but as a gift.
I really had no idea what to expect when I got down here.
An IED explosion cost Army Lieutenant David Inbody his military career. Still recuperating, David is here to use the uneven ground of South Texas to test out his new prosthetic device that helps him walk.
Learn how to walk again, and so being able to get back out and hunt, and then to be able to come down to South Texas into what's referred to as the Golden Triangle. This is kind of the sweet spot for hunting whitetail deer in Texas. I was pretty excited. It was a pretty fun deal.
I didn't expect anything like what was given to us. I didn't expect the gear to be kept that I was allowed to keep and take home with me, or the rifles, or any of that. That is something that is way above and beyond anything I ever expected.
Army Sergeant Ricky Rood will have to adjust to life with sunglasses, the details of which he isn't ready to talk about yet. But later, we'll hear the incredible account of a series of combat violence that will haunt Ricky for the rest of his life. For now, this whitetail hunt is all that matters.
These people have went way above and beyond what they have to do to support us, and they give us more than we really need, and they're all heartfelt about it.
Oh. I was just really blown away. The Show of Support folks have got a lot of amazing gifts that were donated to the hunt, and well beyond anything that I ever imagined. that was exciting to be able to get back and look through. A lot of people said it was like having Christmas in November. When he told us he had rifles for us, I was pretty floored. I was pretty amazed. That's a big gift. That's a big donation. You know, knowing that kind of support, that there's people that are willing to put forward that kind of money to help support the military and wounded soldiers, that means a lot. It really does.
As was David, Ricky is surrounded by the staff of HerraDura Ranch, which means horseshoe in Spanish.
He's on his third target.
It's November, and as warm as it is, the warnings to look out for Mr. No-Shoulders are warranted.
It's a beautiful country, and the animals are just way above and beyond any that you'd have a chance anywhere else to hunt.
It was time to go to the blind and see if we could find some deer to shoot.
The lieutenant locks in on a great South Texas whitetail buck as show of support hunt for heroes continues. Stay with us. If you know of an American warrior longing for a truly unforgettable hunting experience, or for more information on becoming part of Show of Support's Hunt for Heroes, go to our website, showofsupport.org.
You know, looking forward to that, knowing that we're probably going to get to hunt that afternoon and get in and see what this was all about. You read lots of stories and you see all the video and TV shows about the hunting in South Texas, and to finally be down here and being able to take part in something like that, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty cool stuff.
It's the first morning of David Inbody's hunt. His guide, Phil Ferris, has spotted a nice buck, but it's early. Phil says they need to study this deer and keep their eyes on him as he makes a scrape along a long sendero.
Yeah, well, that really gets the blood pumping when you're climbing into the stand and setting up, and you really can't even see very far out. Your eyes are kind of playing tricks on you, so you're thinking shadows or deer, and they're not. And then the next thing I know, Phil says, "Oh, there's one walking in."
For somebody like David, who's been through so much in war, he never lets a moment like this go unnoticed or unappreciated.
You talk to people who've had any kind of a near-death experience or anything to that level, you appreciate a lot of things more. Being with family, just being in the outdoors. We landed in Afghanistan middle of December of 2009, and then I was there until July 15th of 2010 when I was injured. We were just working our way along a little road next to a wadi. That's when IED went off underneath my vehicle. I knew something was wrong with my foot. It didn't feel right. One of the crew members in my truck got a look at it and could tell that my foot was messed up, and they do everything they're supposed to do. They tell you you're going to be okay and everything's going to be fine. They go get the medic. The medic came over. About that time, we started taking mortar fire. They had the spot pretty well dialed in, so we were in a gunfight pretty quick. The medics and everybody, they don't care about that stuff, and so they were over there pulling me out, working on me. About that time, they got the mortars and everything quieted down. Not too long after that, the medevac showed up, and he landed right next to my truck, and they put me on the medevac board. We had a forward surgical team there operating on the fob. They immediately prepped me and took me into surgery. It wasn't until I got out of surgery that I was told that I'd lost my foot.
The memories of David's injury are interrupted by another buck emerging from the HerraDura brush. David and Phil stay locked in on this buck, and as time passes, waiting for a clear shot and good angle, David's heartbeat accelerates dramatically.
It's pretty awesome feeling. Kind of get that rush of adrenaline going again. As soon as he said, "That's the one we think we're going to take," and I had the rifle outside the blind, and a little buck moved in right behind him and blocked him, and then he turned and faced towards me, and it was just waiting and waiting and waiting, and we had to wait a good 15-20 minutes for all the deer to clear, and for him to finally turn broadside and give a good shot where I knew I wasn't going to shoot anything else. He was a big, mature deer, big, full-bodied. He'd been around for a long time. It was exciting. It was awesome. You know, because you look at him through your binoculars, you look at him through the rifle scope, and you think you know what you're looking at, and you think, all right, he's good, he's got some mass, he's this, he's that.
$3 filled David's scope, but he keeps his crosshairs on that mature 9-point that has cleared the others. Now, with the safety off and the trigger hot, David waits for his buck to turn.
That's all it did. I was just right on the crease, just on the back side of the shoulder.
Maybe behind the shoulder a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I didn't anchor. Other 8 wants to get shot. It's hard to put into words that combination of adrenaline rush and sense of fulfillment. As soon as that trigger broke, I knew I'd made a good shot. The rifle surprised me when it went off, and that's always a good thing. And Phil, of course, was on it with his spotting scope, and so he saw the impact, and he immediately told me that I had made a great shot on the deer. I was ready to just jump right out of the blind and go chase that deer down right then.
Hunting guide Phil Ferris knows the mornings heat up here quickly at the HerraDura Ranch in November. A buck that runs into the brush can be tough to track without a blood trail.
Well, you always want to walk up and see evidence right where you shot the deer, and we didn't have that on this shot, even though we knew I'd made a good clean shot on him, and so we followed the tracks.
It seems all they have to go on are tracks, until finally,
Blood right here.
blood.
We could see where he jumped, and we could see the next couple of tracks where he jumped again and taken off, dove off into the brush. And so we just followed him, you know, and a little bit nervous at first because you want to see that evidence right away. Oh, there he is right there. See the sunlight on those antlers. Yeah, that early morning sunshine comes in and shines off those antlers, and you see those antlers sticking up above the grass. You know you shot a real nice deer, and he was a big-bodied deer too. Being able to walk up on that big mature buck, know that I had in fact made that good solid heart shot, and he didn't go far.
Sometimes it takes a mile to find a buck that went 80 yards. But David Inbody knows a lot about long roads, like the long road to recovery since being blown up by cowardly tactics of misguided idiots he was fighting in Afghanistan.
Just a big grin on your face. It was not something I had expected. When we first drove up, Terry was the first one to come walking out to meet us. He had a big smile on his face. He was obviously very excited. Even though he wasn't out there with us in the blind or pulling the trigger, he was excited about that buck as I was. This means a lot to him. He's very dedicated to the program.
Back at the lodge, Terry Johnston gets what he came for. A chance to see an American hero with a great smile. And every deer that comes in, Terry knows his passion for the outdoors has been passed on one more time.
Yeah.
Ricky Rood admires David's buck, and that only whets his appetite to get back to the brush for the afternoon hunt. Ricky gets his chance as the show of support hunt for heroes continues. Stay with us.
I grew up in northern Idaho. I've been hunting since I could walk. I always hunted. It's something I did. I grew up in a small town, so it's just part of my life. We can only kill certain deer, but if I don't kill a deer, that's fine. It's just the fact that I have an opportunity to see the deer, and there are wonderful deer on this ranch. The itching to be able to shoot one is almost more than I can take, but if we get one, we get one. But I just enjoy seeing the animals.
It's something that rarely happens in South Texas. A warm afternoon hunt in November. and the first deer out is a nice buck. No does, no fawns. It's enough to make hunting guide Dale Measles grab his video camera and document it. After only minutes in the blind, Army Sergeant Ricky Rood is blown away by what he's seen here on the HerraDura Ranch. As the daylight slips away, Dale lets Ricky know they should wait until the morning. Wait for a buck that's got 1 or 2 more years on it. As they wait for darkness to fall in, Ricky's mind wanders to a place far away and a time not so long ago.
My last tour was Iraq. I was an infantryman, and I also did EOD. I'd go out and do explosives, we'd do bombs. I was injured 4 times in 2 weeks. The first night I was injured trying to round up a goat. We had a goat that they had rigged with an IED. They had put a stick of dynamite up its rectum, and the cable was sticking out. We were trying to cord it off in a building, and we got caught in a crossfire. And I ended up getting a frag grenade thrown behind me, and it blew up and knocked me out. I went out 2 nights later and got caught in a firefight in a place called Kabul, in a tire factory. They were shooting from the windows, and an RPG hit this shack, and it blew up, and a piece of one of the insurgents went underneath my kneecap, a piece of his bone, and when they pulled it out, I ended up getting a blood infection. And I went to Afghanistan, and in Afghanistan we had a rock pile that detonated, and I got buried under rocks with 2 other guys. And in Iraq they gave me what they call an easier job, and I was out on patrol one night, and we had a daisy chain. It's four IEDs go off at one time. It threw a guardrail against the side of the vehicle I was in, flipped the vehicle upside down, killed my driver instantly, and trapped me up underneath of it. And when it trapped me up underneath of it, the concussion of it caused my left eye to pop out. And the concussion, well, when it did, it also popped my eardrums again. And this time it broke loose some infection in my spine where the piece of shrapnel was from before. And they said that's the reason I now have worse TBI, and I'm going blind in my left eye. It's because of all the infection that broke loose from the piece of shrapnel that was in the base of my spine. They took the shrapnel out, but the infection started going rampant, and it settled behind my left eye. They got it cleared up, but the damage was already done. And that's one of the reasons I have photosensitivity, and my TBI is so bad, because the infection set in the core of my brain. It takes a lot of the pain away that I have just being outdoors, and with the excitement of having something new, definitely relaxes me a lot. We got up early, we went out to the stand, we got settled in, and we started seeing, there's a few of the deer started coming in. We saw a couple good-sized bucks.
Ricky and Dale watch bucks and patiently wait for daylight to reveal what South Texas has best to offer.
It feels like hours that we sit and wait and watch, and it moves around. I know that this is the one that he's gonna let me shoot, but you get antsy, and it feels like, to me, it's like back on patrol. I know it's gonna happen, it's just, it ain't happening fast enough. You get the adrenaline pumping, and I have to take a few breaths and calm down, take the safety off and squeeze it. And remember what I've done 100 times.
Oh, drilled him.
You just think that's it. Well, I guess we're not going to have to follow him today. It was a good shot. When the deer dropped there in front of me, it felt good because I knew that I had been taught well when I was young. My dad had taught me well. One shot, one kill. I get all excited all over again. And I know that I've got another deer. And it's just like the first one. It felt good. I mean, it's been about 10 years since I've killed a deer. It felt real good to finally kill another deer. He's dead. It felt satisfying that I'd actually had a clean kill. This will be one place that no matter where I go hunt, I'll remember this. Their guides and the people here just in general are just, they're just friendlier and more hospitable than any place I've ever been.
Back at the HerraDura Lodge, every buck that comes in is something special, something to remember. And on this morning, Ricky Rood's buck brings something extra to the table. Jerry Johnston's show of support is only growing as word of this organization spreads to the greatest whitetail hunting ranches in Texas. There is an assurance that this program will continue, and show of support seems to have taken on a life of its own. And that's why we like to say, in the presence of these military heroes, this is indeed hunting's finest hour.
The heart starts going a little bit faster, and you're wondering when the next one's going to pop up, when your deer is going to pop up, and you're just ready to go.